Hi, Vladimir. Thank you so much for coming to the Founder Talk. How are you today?
Fine, thanks. And you?
Oh, good. Again, thank you so much for coming. So let's give an introduction to yourself, and after we walk through your tech.
Yeah, so as discussed, we are making mushroom city farms. We come from Russia. This was a tough year for us. Now we are relocated to Austria, and we are starting actually our business from scratch again. Yeah, so we are doing and we are developing and selling mushroom city farms. And we do that because we started that as a small scale family mushroom farm. And we went through all the hassles and all the problems that mushroom farmers now have. And we managed to solve them all and started to sell it as a technology. So basically, the main problem here is that almost 50% of the yield is written off between the harvesting on my farm and the end consumer buying the package of the mushrooms from a retail store. But there are many other problems, technical ones, such as substrate contamination, growing climate failure, and unavailability to predict the yield, and many, many more. And this makes actually the mushroom farming a really, really tough business. What we came up is a turnkey business decision. So we have all the hardware that is needed for mushroom farm, fully automated, starting from a substrate machine to climate system, growing rooms, and packaging zone. And also it is automated by our software, and we have our own ERP software that actually plans your production according to the sales forecast. And that's why this is the first time basically in the world when you do not need to have any special knowledge to run a mushroom farm. You need just a flow of orders and management skills. And yeah, the market of mushroom growing is really big. It is growing pretty fast, but there is a constant demand for ultra fresh mushrooms that is uncovered in Europe and US, because the business is so complex and there are not many specialists that are actually able to run this business. And so for now, there are more demand than there is production sites. And with our technology, we can basically sell our production site to anyone, and they will be able to cover this demand. For the competitors, there is no other company in the world that is providing mushroom farming as a business, so turnkey one. But obviously, we have many competitors in different types of our productions, such as hardware, mycelium, and software. But for now, we are more productive, more cheap than any others, and really highly scalable. We have different categories of clients, but we're starting with the bundle of retail plus distribution and local farmers who deliver to retail. We partner with retail, providing to the farmer their volumes of sales, and we sell the farm to the existing farmer, and he is able to deliver. And it is a win-win for everyone's situation. We sell mushroom farms with one-time check for hardware and installation, and then we on monthly basis supply the farm with consumables such as substrate and mycelium. And it is pretty profitable because these consumables take up to 40% of the net cost of mushrooms coming from our farms, and from any farms actually. And basically, if we sell 190 farms in course of 5 years, we'll earn around 35 million euro. But if we're just supplying mycelium and substrate to this number of farms, we will get the same amount of money annually, recurring revenue, and this is pretty cool. We already conducted pilots with retailers in Russia, and we estimated with the help of our retail partner that a 150,000 euro farm can save up to 500,000 euro for a retailer actually. And yeah, we actually built our facility from scratch on. In the end, we produced around 10 tons of mushrooms per month with profits of 20,000 euro per month before tax. And we started to scale up as a startup and pilots with retailers. But yeah, in 2022, we were forced to relocate to Austria. We were accepted to Science Park Graz incubation program. And now we are starting our business from scratch again. And actually, we are raising our seed round to establish our first farm in Austria. This is all was made by our really cool and professional team of engineers. We already started to gather an advisory board from local food tech experts. Michael Stelzer is the owner of the biggest food attestation lab in Austria, and he's helping us a lot with retail contacts. And we're raising 300,000 euro from angels. It will be coupled with local grant of 350,000 euro. And for this money, we will be able to establish our farm within 10 months from initial funding. It will be operating on the full scale on the initial capacity, and will provide some profits which will provide the salaries for R&D team, and the company will be profitable. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vladimir. Now, can we just talk a bit more about your business model? You have actually two business models. You can sell directly mushrooms, or you can provide the facility.
So there is a common misconception, and this is a problem not only our project, but any city farming project. Our business model is to sell the technology, the mushroom farms, and then to sell mycelium to them. So basically generating recurring revenue. But to do that, we need at least one per world showcase farm that is working and proving that unit economics is working. And yes, we starting with this business model, selling the mushrooms from this farm, but it is only a showcase and R&D facility. And we won't, for now, for the current strategy, we won't be building our farms because it is too capex heavy. But also, we know that in our industry, such as also city farming industry, there is for now, there is no company as end acquirer of the business. So there is no Facebook or Google that can buy us out in the end. And basically, there are two strategies that city farming companies do about that. First of all, run till IPO, which is pretty okay. And the second one, on the some scale of clients of the farms, they convert them to their own farms and start and actually convert themselves into a big producer. This is also an option to exit. That's why we are thinking about it, but only in like 10 years term period in the future.
What's the size? What size are we talking about when we describe your farm?
This is our technology is highly scalable. So basically, we can scale it down to for example, mushroom foam incubator for a kitchen or an autonomous rack for a store. But those projects already exist, and we know their unit economics. And what we are sure that the market needs the lower net cost of the mushrooms. And that's why we are going with industrial scale facilities. And in our experience, you need around 300 square meters to run a profitable mushroom farm when you are delivering on wholesale prices to a distributor or retailer. And if you are selling directly on retail prices, for example, on local like markets or direct to neighbors, you can do it from 10 meters to 50 meters, and it will be profitable. And we will be focusing obviously on industrial scale decisions.
Who are your clients today? Who are referring to for selling?
Because we are starting in DACH region now, our main clients are existing farmers because obviously farmers in each country of the world are like the most abusable category. So their business is really hard and provides really little margin. And basically in Austria, what we see, most of the farmers have some abandoned facilities, for example, abandoned horse stables or something like that. They are paying taxes for that. And basically these are our clients. We provide to them basically a diversification of their product portfolio and a marginal business that can bring them up to 30% of monthly margin in profits.
So based on CapEx, how long does it take to me to pay back and start making money?
From the initial investment, depending on the region, but in Austria, it will take you around 2.5 or 3 years. Depending on the region, in US, the numbers may be a little bit different, but it is still around that. Because this happens because we aim in terms of production, really high marginal mushrooms, basically. If we're talking about like, we can produce champignons on our farms, but then you need to build a huge scale farm, like tens of thousands square meters, to be compatible with the local producers that already have such scale. And if we're talking about small and medium scale farms, your product portfolio will be mostly oyster, king oyster, shiitake, reishi, and so on. So more exotic mushrooms with a little bit less demand, but really high margins.
In terms of cost, if I want to open my farm, how much?
In Austria, it will cost you around 250,000 euro per 400 square meters.
Okay, so your 300, let's talk about your fundraising. Your 300K in euro are for create your first facility in Austria.
Yeah, basically the whole round is 650K, but as soon as we have the grant, so we gather only half of that between angels. And yes, our plan is to open our first farm in Austria, because the main question that we get, obviously, if the unit economics of our farm is going to work in Austria, where the labor costs are much higher than in Russia. It will, we know that, but we need to prove that. And this is like the main reason why we are going with our own facility.
So after done this one, what will happen after? What's going to happen in terms of your expansion? Okay, this the first one is done in Austria. With this, my understanding, it's a like showcase facility, right?
Yeah.
And after selling the facility and not the mushrooms anymore. But where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself in 3-5 years time? What's the expansion plan?
So obviously, as soon as we occurred by chance to be in DACH region, we will work the next 2 years in Germany and Switzerland and Austria, because it is we already talked to local retailers, and there is a really high demand for locally produced mushrooms. They do not want to buy mushrooms from Poland and Hungary. They want to buy local produced because they can sell them on higher prices, and the customers will buy them because everyone wants everything local produced. And this is a huge demand here. We will work here, but our like core markets for us is actually US, and we hope to get there in the period of 2-3 years from now.
So let me close. Before I'm going to ask you my last. Why are you doing this? What brings you here? Why you are embarking such a huge project and an effort? Because launching a venture, in your case as well, is pretty challenging. Why are you doing this?
There are several steps of motivation actually here. First of all, I'm an entrepreneur like from the school. So I have been doing that for all my life, and it is my 8th business, but I was doing mostly conventional businesses, and this startup was started as a conventional business. And basically here is the main motivation here is that if you are living in Russia, the average salary that you might get on working on any job is like between 500 to 1,000 euro, which is not much. And making your business is actually a way to get higher salary in Russia. But afterwards, when I was in that, when I lived through all the problems of mushroom farming, we were working like for 3 years. We saw 3 bankruptcies of more older farms in our region because of the problems that we solved, actually. And that's why I really today's motivation, that I know the problems of this industry. I know the people that are working, the families that own these farms and run them on continuous basis. It is a hard business, and I really want to help them because I lived it through myself.
Let me ask you, and I'm going to close with this one. Why investing in Vladimir team and his venture? If you can just give 30 seconds to investors.
We are highly motivated, more motivated than any other startup. And this is a growing market, and we are in the beginning of it. Right now, we have no competition at all. In 3 years, there will be several companies like ours.
Vladimir, thank you so much for coming to the Founder Talk. I really wish you all the best, and I'm sure in Equity Match we can help you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. My pleasure.